What's happening, YouTube? You are in the building with the life gain Avengers of current culture. It's me. It's your boy Larry, the living legend Larry. And T Streams ain't back with us yet, but he wants you all to know he follows the show. So from time to time, y'all might see him in the comment section. Brother Larry, how you feeling?
Man, I'm doing okay. Just had a nice dinner and, about to just get it in. Talk about this craziness and these idiots that just refuse to mask up.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is so ridiculous when you got fools out here talking about they're not going to wear a mask for their personal civil liberties, but by them not wearing the mask, you're taking away from my liberty. And I'll get to that when we get to the politics section. We'll let you guys know what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about Lovecraft Country. That comes out Sunday night at 9 p.m. Can't wait. We've got a new clip from Power Book 2, behind the scenes, give us more detail into what's going on. We've got a trailer clip with Tom Holland, a horror movie that is on Netflix. Looks to be good. We got to talk a little bit about politics because there's so much idiocy going on in the world. We've got to give 5 minutes. We even had a mayor in Virginia.
You know I'm scary, man. I can't do horror movies.
Hey, man, well, you wearing a science shirt, so you should know it's not real. And what Larry was really trying to say he's afraid of is there was a mayor close to where he live at calling Kamala Harris Aunt Jemima. Lord have mercy. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to finish on stocks. We're going to revisit Tesla because if you guys took my advice Tuesday night and woke up Wednesday and bought Tesla, you are in the good about $325. So we're going to cover all that. But first on the tip, Larry, let's talk about Lovecraft Country. Take a look at the behind the scenes to give you guys a little bit more insight on how deep they're going to go with making a decision between monsters or racism. Man, I'm scared of both of them.
Some of the things we do in this story is quite genre breaking. Atticus is a young black man in the 1950s. He's a bibliophile and a soldier, a warrior and a poet. When we first meet Atticus, I come home to Southside Chicago because my father is missing. My father, he wrote me. Said we have a secret legacy that's been kept from us. It's in Lovecraft Country.
This place is dangerous.
Letty is birthed from the same cloth, the same DNA of so many women from this time. Ella Baker, Rosa Parks, and it makes so many people uncomfortable. When we meet Letty, she appears to be somewhat of a wanderer.
You just gonna stand there, Jay?
She's just returned to Chicago after having been gone for a while, and her family doesn't have much contact with her. But Letty's got a lot of secrets.
This world is haunting us.
Marchos is a complicated man. He's smart, he's fearless, he's loving, and he's in a massive amount of pain. He made certain life choices to give up parts of himself to become the father that he thought Atticus needed.
We'll not go wrong with you, boy.
But they're trying to sift through this darkness, secret keeping, magic.
Christina was raised in a cultish, very insular environment. She decides to rebel to prove her worth and get her hands on this thing that she knows that she's capable of using. She's a very focused, very determined woman.
This is an invitation to unmitigated power.
At the heart of Lovecraft is this family drama. It just adds this level of danger.
Our love for each other will be tested as a family. That's what Lovecraft is about.
We gotta face this new world and stake our claim in it.
Man, that looks good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Peele, he's hit another home run. Basically, you took the aura of the great show that was on Netflix called Stranger Things. You took that aura and you kind of spun it to bring in more minorities, and you meshed it together in the 60s. And then you're putting a strange family dynamic in the mix. I can't wait. It looks like they're sticking very close to the book, which was very acclaimed, highly reviewed. Sunday night it go. Yes, this is source material from a book. This is a book.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, man, and the book was highly reviewed. Go back and check the video I did because I pulled excerpts from the book maybe about 3 months ago. If you go to my channel and go Lovecraft Country, you'll see the review I did that included the book. But when Jordan Peele read the book and read the script, he said he had to work on this because he saw a vision. And I see a vision too. So I think that anyone who's a fan of history and what Black people had to go through in the 60s just dealing with racism, and if you're a fan of the kind of science and mystery that you get from Stranger Things, it comes mashed together, and we should see a large audience because the cast on this thing is stellar. Everybody on this cast can act their ass off, and the director's stellar too. Saying those things, Larry, I give you the floor. I can't wait. Y'all be on the lookout for the review.
Man, I'm looking forward to this. I mean, I forgot the dude's name, the main character in there, but I've seen him in a few things, you know, over the last couple years, and he's fantastic, man. It's like
fantastic.
It feels like he just came out of nowhere because he doesn't look like what you would think of as your typical leading man. Because I don't think he's like traditionally handsome like you would think what people generally go for in Hollywood.
Now let me give you a caveat to him too. He went down the same journey I went down with weight. He used to be a heavy guy, got his weight down because he wanted to pursue his dream of being in theaters. I just want to throw that out there. So I'm behind that, brother. And I like where you're going with this because you felt the same way about Brandon from The Shy. You know, you can garner people who seem like they can be just like you. And this brother has done that.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's not what I would generally envision as a typical Hollywood stereotype of a leading man. But every time I see him in a movie, he's so good. His performances are so strong. It's just, he's fantastic. And Omar, I mean, I always call him Omar because I love when he plays. I mean, that role is just fantastic. It's just one of those iconic roles. It's going to be great forever. And then Journey Smollett, man, you know, you see her and sometimes you just think like, oh yeah, typical Redbone, but then you forget how truly beautiful she is when you see her in some of those roles. And even when you see her out and about in today's time, I feel like she was sort of misplaced because like when I see her dressed the way she was like back in the 60s, you know, where she has those, you know, those sort of grandma glasses that spike up and her short shorts and she's walking through there with all those white people looking at her and she just looks so defiant and just strong and just like, I dare you type. I mean, yeah, I don't know what her character is going to be all about, but from everything I've seen from the trailers, man, I am all about it. Her character looks like she's going to be badass and I'm loving it.
Now, I don't want to spoil it because when I did research on this initially, I kind of found out what each character was going to do. And we would be remiss if we didn't mention Courtney B. Vance. I mean,
right.
I mean, he's OG in the game, and he can act.
But they don't show him that much in the trailers. It's funny. It's almost like he's saying, "No, I've had my time. We'll give the youngins their shine or something," you know?
Kind of, but you know, he's going to be an anchor to this show, man. It's just, it does my heart fine to see this much of a multicultural studio show be put together on a paid platform. This is going to be the epitome of what America should be about, bringing cultures together and letting them do their thing, including the minorities, including a few of the others, and see what you're going to get. This show might win awards. I can't wait to review it. And another program note, Monday, to help us review all these shows, we're going to have that. We're going to have The Shy, and we're going to have P-Valley. The homegirl, Pay or Wait, is scheduled to come back and review with us on Monday. So, ladies and gentlemen, be on the lookout for that. I'm going to take us to the next show we're looking forward to. And if you're finding me and Larry for the first time, please subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to his. Links are in the video description. Power Book 2, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a behind the
Tariq zone.
Yeah, man, we've got a behind the scenes trailer of what's going on with the show. Now, let me add this before we jump into it. James St. Patrick, ladies and gentlemen, he's dead. I mean, Council Christmas. He kicked the bucket.
But is Ghost alive?
But that's the thing. Ghost is still alive. And I think at some point in time, his legacy will be transformed into Tariq, and they will be calling Tariq Ghost. Let's take a look at what nuggets they give us behind the scenes.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Michael Rain Jr. We're on the set of Power Book 2.
And action!
Ghost.
Coming off of a show like Power and kind of jumping into a spin-off so quickly, the world is moving very fast. So we've got a lot of new characters to play with, and all the new energy has been a lot of fun, but it's also different.
It's gonna be kind of the same type of vibe of Power, but it's gonna be a new dynamic.
Mary is amazing. When she walks in the room, I mean, you just sort of feel that star power.
She's such a legend, such an icon, but her personality, she's still so humble.
It's going to be great. I don't think you're going to miss a beat far as the action and the streets, and just got to stay tuned and hang in there and watch it unfold. It's just unreal to even be a part of it.
Shit's about to get real. I'm gonna get real crazy with it right now.
Working with Method Man is definitely great because I grew up like listening to him really. My father grew up with him. Us being from Staten Island and really being familiar with each other is pretty cool, and we get to work on set with each other. It's definitely lit.
He's a legend, right? But then he also comes on set, knows his lines, prepared, takes notes, willing to listen, and he does it in a suit looking that good.
And I'm always serious, too.
No, he isn't.
These few weeks that I've been on this set, the love has been real.
Yeah.
And all I can tell you is strap in and get ready for the ride.
Now people get to see the reason why Tariq is how he is. He's growing and he's becoming a young man, so you also get to see how mature he is too and how smart he could be. It's like a whole different dynamic for Tariq. You get to see all different types of sides to it.
Fans will really enjoy seeing Michael's journey playing Tariq. And he's grown so much physically, emotionally. So I'm super proud of Michael. I can't wait for the world to see this.
The excitement that us as the actors feel, it's gonna translate on screen. And when you see this show, y'all gonna feel that exact same way.
This show is gonna be the shit. I hope you can curse. It's stars, right? Cool, and you should use that part too.
It's nice to be a part of a show that shows, these strong black leads, and they're not just the bad guy, or they're not just the sexy guy. There are lots of things wrapped up in one.
I know it's gonna be hard to close the chapter of Power, but trust me, we got you. So get ready.
We've got Method, Mary J, we got Naturi, we've got Michael Rainey Jr., you got me. You got me, come on.
But I give all the credit to, the cast that came before this show was even established. There wouldn't be this show if the original cast didn't put it down the way they did, because they created this world, and we just a part of it right now.
These table reads are a huge part of the process. I can't wait to hear this script. It's been in my head for so long, so I'm so excited.
All right, Power Book 2 Ghost, episode 101.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it goes down in a couple of more weeks. A few things I want to address for all you that keep saying, I'm not going to watch it if it goes in there. Just shut the hell up. Let's just stop it. Let's stop it. You're going to hate watch it because you want to see something bad happen to Tariq that we know ain't going to happen to him. They are going to take Tariq, turn him into a sympathetic character one way or the other one, and they're going to make someone else the villain so bad that you're going to hate this other entity, that you're going to be hooked watching this show.
Who's going to be the villain, though?
I don't know, man. That's the mystery of it.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any indication of who the villain's going to be.
Me neither. And instead of being upset that Ghost ain't in, James St. Patrick ain't in it, because Ghost is going to be Tariq. The entity known as Ghost, it lives, but it's going to be Tariq, and it's probably going to be episode 8 or 9 when he's going to start calling himself Ghost. But in terms of a villain, I have no idea who's supposed to be the new villain. I do know that Tariq is going to be hooking up with that punk ass Cooper Saxe. That's my nickname for him. He's going to be hooking up with Mary J. Blige, and I'm not really sure who the villain is going to be, but I'm going to be tuned in during reviews. Larry, seeing what they're doing behind the scenes, and there was no sign, and I mean no sign, of the actor formerly known as James St. Patrick. Where do you think we're going with this show?
I think the villain's going to be Dre, and he's going to come back as Johnny Blaze.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. Here we go.
He's going to come back all crispy, and he's going to be the villain. Now, I have no idea who's going to be the villain, man. I'm kind of curious to know who it's going to be. I know that girl that they had in there. What's her name? Lauren something or the other? I can't remember her name. Lauren, I don't know, whatever she is. That chick is fine as hell. She's going to be fun to look after.
Lord. So you done just got rid of Ramona like that?
Ramona's not around. She left us. She left us. I don't know what she's doing. She's probably working on the Biden campaign, you know? So I don't know. I mean, it looks like it's going to be good. I'll tell you, if these writers can get me to feel some sort of way about Tariq, they will have done their job. Because as it is right now, I'm like, man, I feel nothing for that dude. I'm like, the reason why his daddy's dead and his mom's locked up and his sister's dead is all because of him. If he just would have taken himself to school, played some sports, got with a few girls, did like the rest of the kids do up there, smoke a little pot, pop a little Ritalin before finals, he would have been fine. His family would have been fine, you know. But nah, he wants to go and create a show about himself, you know.
What the hell, man? I tell you.
I hope it's good. I think it'll be good because the writers obviously the fact that they put this show out first, it tells me they've had a vision in their head for a long time of where they wanted Tariq to go and how they wanted him to get there. And the fact they created an entire show for that journey says this is something that's been well thought out. Especially the fact that they were able to come out with this so quickly really tells me that this is a concept that they've had worked out for a long time.
Yeah, they start filming it last year, and Courtney Kemp is on the record saying that her favorite character from Power was Tariq. That was her favorite character, and so
I don't get that, but okay.
Maybe somehow deep down on the inside, she relates to him being brought up in, you know, a suburban lifestyle, not really exposed to the hood, but wanting to be exposed to the hood. Maybe that's her deep inner vice or her deep inner thoughts or something to that effect.
And
maybe that's why she related to him so quickly. But
maybe she's Effie and she had a dude like Tariq.
Could be. Could be. And a lot of writers live out their deepest, darkest regrets, their deepest, darkest fears through their work. And maybe this is something that could be a fear that she has for her own kids or for someone she's close to.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see. It looks interesting, though. The show does look interesting. When I first heard that they were going to do the story with Tariq first, I was like, boo, that's going to be garbage. No one wants to see him. But from what I've seen from the trailers, it looks like it's going to be interesting. It really does. So
I think
we'll see how it all plays out. Right. I'm hoping they, I hope they bring some more people back from the regular Power show. You know, maybe some of the gangsters that he was dealing with. I hope he gets to work with some of those folks.
Right.
You know.
Okay. Now let's see. Let me shout out some of my people that's dropping great comments. First one we're gonna read is my man Mike Willie. I think she'll be back in Tate spinoffs talking about Effie. Ramona. Talking about Ramona. Talking about Ramona. Larry's favorite girl, Ramona.
Figure it's time to pass it on.
It's the best present I ever got. Thank you.
How and why people from 2 points on a map without even a straight line between them can be connected is at the heart of our story in Knock 'em Stiff.
You ever think about how we ended up orphans living in the same house?
I know what my daddy did.
Some people would say it's just dumb luck.
You take pictures?
I do. I see a smile pretty enough to photograph, that is.
Others would tell you it was God's plan.
Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness.
That ain't no preacher. He's as bad as they got on the damn radio.
When people look back on it, they had no other choice.
There's a lot of no good sons of bitches out there.
Excuse me, preacher. You got time for a sinner? You know, I studied something. It's called the delusion. A belief that is untrue. It is our delusion that lead us to sin. Delusions!
Some people were born just so they could be buried.
What I'm about to do, I do because I have to. Not because I want to.
Okay. All right. It didn't look like straight horror to me. It looked more like a thriller. And there's a fine line sometimes, but that looked more like a thriller than a horror movie.
Yeah. It's definitely not gonna.
You definitely don't seem like you're feeling it.
No, it's not that I'm not feeling it. It's just that my attention span, ladies and gentlemen, I can't lie, has gotten very short over the last 2 years, especially now that I got a newborn. That movie looks to be a slow burn. Like, it looks like it could be good. It looks like something that could invoke a whole lot of thought.
Right.
And for having said those things, I don't doubt that it could be something pretty good. But just kind of where I'm at right now, it's not going to be something I'm going to just gravitate to the first week. I can just tell you that right now. Now, the other thing that's hard for me to do, it's hard for me to see Robert Pattinson outside of Twilight. And it's definitely hard for me to see Tom Holland outside of Spider-Man. And now you done put the cat in the 60s with a damn accent, Southern accent. It's hard for me to unsee Spider-Man on him. Not saying that he can't do it. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that mentally I've typecast him. So having said all those things, I think it has potential to be good. It's going to be a slow burn, but it's not going to be something I'm going to watch immediately. Floor is yours, Larry.
Yeah, see, I can see Tom Holland outside of Spider-Man. For me, I can.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
No, I can see him outside. I'm okay with that. I can
Okay.
see him outside of Spider-Man. But Robert Pattinson, he seems like he still looks like a vampire. Even when I see him, he's super pale. He looks like a doggone vampire. You know, I would not be at all surprised if it turns out that he's actually a daywalker. You know, the dude looks like a vampire. So I don't know. Maybe he should have played Frost in the next Blade or something.
Damn.
But
he's going to be Batman, man. He's going to be Batman.
So what? Batman has a cave. He doesn't live in a cave. I mean, come on, man. That dude is ghostly. I mean, I don't know, man. They're got to put some makeup on him or something, you know?
Right. Maybe so. I mean, I guess they could do that. But so for you, is this going to be a first day drop, first weekend review for you or not?
Nah, man, because I'll be honest with you, I feel like that same weekend, I think, is when The Boys come out.
Oh,
or maybe that's the weekend before.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I can't remember. It's either that weekend or the weekend before. But if it's that weekend, I'll be too busy watching The Boys to be bothered with that mess.
Yeah, man. And
you know,
we're going to be reviewing that too. And that is a damn good series. If you haven't gone back to watch season 1 of The Boys,
do it now.
Please take this weekend and go back and watch it. It is real good. And our homegirl, Muchella, who always turns us on to great shows, just told me to tell you guys, Project Power with Jamie Foxx is good. And I trust Muchella.
I was just about to mention that. I just pulled it up on my iPad.
Yeah. And we trust Muchella with these TV shows and movies. As a matter of fact, Muchella should probably start her own YouTube and she can start earning some coins because she be on it when it comes to these good shows. She's made, right. As a matter of fact, Larry, look, this is her list I got right here. This is the list. In my non-nicotine stained hands, y'all Republicans know what I'm talking about.
And your infamil and Gerber's baby's food stained hands.
Right. Muchella has requested that we watch City on the Hill, which I caught a chance to look at. Damn good show. Muchella was also trying to turn me on to the same show Larry tried to turn me on to, which was Shameless, and I ignored both of them for the long time, and I was totally wrong. Muchella has tried to turn me on to Penny Dreadful, City of Angels, and I just didn't. I ain't look at that for a while. Called the episode and Hook. Muchella, you need to start doing some reviews, my friend, because you be on it. So
yeah, that Penny Dreadful City of Angels is fire, man. That show is legit, man. That is one of the better shows I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting to wind down. We're at the halfway point in this show, which means it's about to be heavy politics, heavy stocks to help you guys make them life gains. This part of the show goes out to the homegirl Teresa C, who wanted us to bring back politics because she learned something. She's in a sea of hearing people, all they talk about is, oh, Trump this, Trump that. And she wants people to who has political backgrounds, has some business backgrounds, has some experience in the world, break things down, put them in layman's terms. And we're going to start this off. I'm not even going to go to the Aunt Jemima thing yet. We're going to go to a great question that was asked of our president, and he had no answer for it. And I'm going to ask Larry, why did he not have an answer? Take a look at this.
Please. Mr. President, after 3.5 years, do you regret it all the lying you've done to the American people? On
all the what?
All the lying, all the dishonesties.
That who has done?
You have done. Tens of thousands.
Go ahead, please. Please. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask about the payroll tax.
Have to make sure that we can do that. Please.
Mr. President, after 3.5 years, do you regret it all the lying you've done to the American people? On
all the what?
All the lying, all the dishonesties.
That who has done?
You have done. Tens of thousands.
Go ahead, please. Please. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask about the payroll tax.
Go ahead.
Cut.
So, Larry, I'll give you that one, and then I'll break down what he's attempting to do with the payroll tax, because a lot of people don't understand how the payroll tax works. He's not lying when he says you're going to get 6% of your check. That's true. But a lot of people don't understand where the money is coming from, what the real intent of the money is going to be. And there is no discretionary fund that you can pull from to replace what that payroll tax would eliminate if he cuts it. But the floor is yours, Larry. Respond to that reporter. Was he dastardly for asking the president of the United States, why the hell have you told 1,100 lies?
I will say this, man. I'm so proud of that dude. I'm like, finally, somebody who had the friggin' just the gumption to finally say something, knowing that the president may just as well likely say this dude's banned, he can't come back, because he's done it before. But finally, somebody who sacked up, somebody besides Robert Costa that just, I think isn't that his name, the dude from CNN that got put out before, somebody who finally just decided, I'm just going to ask these hard questions. He didn't get an answer. And I think Trump was totally caught off guard by it, but good for him for asking, and I hope that I really hope that that question will be a regular thing where every single press conference he gives, a different reporter will decide it's my turn to ask that question. And then they'll just ask, and it'll just become a thing that goes in a circle. Well, they'll just ask it every single time he speaks, and until he decides that he's going to have to answer that question or address the issue. So as far as the payroll tax, for those of you who think that Trump is doing something for you, let me just explain briefly before Lamont jumps into this, how insidious this plan truly is. Because what they are talking about doing is not cutting the payroll tax. What they are doing is talking about temporarily postponing the payroll tax, and you're still going to have to pay your payroll taxes. So if you make from today through the end of the year, you make $100,000, and normally you pay $25,000 in taxes. Well, guess what? You pay your $25,000 in taxes. Sometimes if you overpaid and you pay 25, you really only owed 18, you get some money back. Well, what's going to happen is he's going to suspend it. At the end of the year or next year when your taxes come due, you still owe those taxes. And so they're going to say, guess what? That money it wasn't a tax cut. It was a tax deferment. Your deferment is up, and now you owe us a lump sum payment of $25,000. So just be aware, if you don't have that money taken from your check every 2 weeks, you will still have to pay those taxes. It will just come in a lump sum, in a balloon payment, as some say, at during the next tax year. And for a lot of people who, like for me, Lamont's the same way. We pay our taxes because we run our own business, and so we have to pay quarterly taxes. And so it's not a big deal for us to say, okay, we made such and such money this year or this week or this month. We're putting this amount of it away because we know we have to pay our taxes. Most people that work for an employer do not operate that way. Their brain does not even begin to think that way because their funds, their taxes are taken out for them. So if all of a sudden now you've been rolling around thinking you have some extra money in your pocket to help pay some bills or help family members that are out of work or something, and now all of a sudden next year when your tax bill comes, you're going to owe all that money in taxes, and if you don't pay it, you're going to end up with penalties and fines, and it's going to be a mess, and it's going to be a serious financial hardship for a lot of people. Now, what Trump is trying to do is try and say, well, if I get reelected, I'll make those payroll tax cuts permanent. He can't do that because the payroll taxes, the payroll taxes are one of the largest income generators that the federal government has. We cannot afford to exist without payroll taxes.
And what does payroll taxes cover, Larry? That 6% that comes out of everybody's check, what does it cover? Because everything I was going to say, you've already said it except for the last piece.
Go ahead, tell them.
Social Security.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that the folks who's 65 plus trying to get rid of that, even the Republican ones? Hell no. Hell to the no. And Social Security is not something that the Congress has to come and pass a bill for every 5-6 years. It was established in the 30s. It was set in stone. It must go on. Unless Congress makes a bill to change it, it is set in stone. It's not something that they've got to appropriate funds for every year. So there's no such thing as we're going to go to discretionary funds and get this. We're going to go get that. It's none of that. It's right. This is where the funding for the program comes from. And basically, like Larry said, no matter what he does to push the program to the side now, that payment is going to come back. It's going to have to come back.
Understand, Social Security, you have these far right whack jobs out there that try and make it seem like, oh, Social Security is some socialist program, yada, yada, yada. Understand, Social Security came about because of the Great Depression. It came about because people were starving. They had nothing to fall back on. People were out of work. There were older people that basically had nothing after the Depression just wiped them out. They were destitute. And so Social Security was a social safety net put in place at that point. And here's the thing. We pay for it. It's not like Social Security is ultimately an insurance program that you pay into. Now, it's not like other insurance programs or other retirement vehicles where it's voluntary. It is wholly involuntary. If you work, you're paying into it. That's just the bottom line. But it is an insurance program that you do pay into. It's not some sort of far left, liberal, socialist, whatever. It's an insurance program that you pay for. It's just like people out there try and make people feel bad for unemployment. Like, for instance, this was years ago when I was in grad school and a little bit before that, I worked for a company that it was a photography company that we went to schools and photographed prep sports at schools. That's all we did was just photograph prep sports. That's all I did for the company. They had other aspects of the company, but that's all I did. And so we worked when schools were in session. So for like a month around Christmas time, they laid everybody off because there was no work. And so what did they do? They told us to go submit your paperwork. We got unemployment for a month. In the summertime, when the schools closed, same thing. They laid us all off, and we were all on unemployment for the summertime. At first, when this first happened, my wife thought, this is terrible. You shouldn't get unemployment. That's for people who are poor and need it. And I explained to her, no, unemployment is insurance that you pay for. You pay every time you go and look at your check. It says right there, unemployment. They're taking money out for it, whether you use it or not. And if you need it, you should use it. And so these ideas about Social Security being these crazy socialist ideas, they're not. It's a program that you pay for. You're taxed on it. It's no more crazy than public highways. You pay for them. It's no more crazy or socialist than public schools. You pay for them. You send your kids there to get educated. You pay for it.
Or the number one public program that drags the budget in the United States is what, Larry?
Probably farm subsidies.
No, the military. The biggest budget item that everybody pays for, but right-wingers swear up and down they are not socialists, is the damn military. Do y'all want to cut
they
that?
Love the military, and the crazy thing is about this, and that's the other part. When you start talking about socialism and the military, it's not just like they're saying, okay, we're going to give money to the generals and to the troops and everything. When they talk about giving money to the military, more so than not, the vast majority of it is going to the private industry. It's going to Lockheed Martin. It's going to Raytheon. It's going to Bay Systems. It's going to Halliburton. It's going to all McDonnell Douglas. It's going to all of these companies. It's going to all these companies that are building things that are part of the military industrial complex, whether it's planes, whether it's satellite systems, whether it's tanks, whether it's
drones, building the machine,
boots for troops, whether it's creating, people who build temporary structures so that they can go and build temporary kitchens or housing structures. All that stuff, all that is part of the military industrial complex, and it's all private industry. This is not like back in the old days where they would say we need to have housing set up, so we're going to go get some troops to go cut down some wood in the forest, and they're going to come over here and build it, and they're going to train you to be they're going to have people in the military that are trained on how to do mason work and woodwork or carpentry or whatever. It's not like that. All that stuff is contracted out. So all that stuff really is basically corporate welfare, because once you get to a point where your military is fully, armed up, you have all the advances that you need, you're fully up to date, you have all the staff, all the soldiers, you have everything you need, and they keep on pushing money out forward. Build a new plane they don't need, build a new tank that the generals keep saying we don't need or don't want. When they keep pushing billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars forward with all that stuff, all it is just corporate welfare. And what happens is the government pushes all this money out to their friends in the military industrial complex. They say, yes, we want you to build us this new fancy plane. And the generals and the admirals and everybody else will say, we don't want this. We don't need it. We don't want it. Don't build it for us. Don't give it. And then eventually they'll say, okay, well, it looks like we don't need it. So we're going to go ahead and cancel the order. But since we already gave you $5 billion or $12 billion or $300 billion to design all this stuff, well, why don't you go ahead and build it anyways, and we'll make some deals so that you can sell the weapons to our friends over in Saudi Arabia or in Israel or wherever else. And so basically they're paying these guys billions of dollars so that they can then turn around and go arm other countries.
Right, exactly.
It's just corporate welfare. That's straight at the highest levels.
And straight up, but those same hypocrites would have you to believe that the table scraps that they pass to the American people is supposed to be something bad. And that's just utter bullshit.
Right.
Utter bull job. This little measly $300 they're trying to hand out to folks who need the unemployment is table scraps.
It's not even that. That's not even enough. My grocery bill last time was almost $300, and there's only 2 of us in the house.
Right. It's effing ridiculous. But before I finish the financial part of what's going on with the budget and the president, I got to address this with Larry because this happened in his neck of the woods. So Larry, this gentleman right here, when Joe Biden announced that Kamala Harris was going to be his running mate, he comes out and calls the chick Aunt Jemima. Lord have mercy. This is the second time. It's like foreshadowing for my old head.
Put the photo back up. They actually kind of look alike.
They do got rosy cheeks. They do got rosy cheeks, don't they?
They got those big puffy cheeks. They kind of look alike.
He's got the nose. It's almost like he could be her damn brother. He's got the only thing he's missing is the pearls, and he's missing the hair. That's all he's missing.
That's probably why it came to mind with him, because he was probably called Aunt Jemima when he was younger because he looked like her. His friends probably made fun of him and called him Aunt Jemima. That's probably why he said it, and he's a little butthurt over it still. I mean,
I'm gonna give the floor to you, but they did a show back in the day called A Different World for my old heads, and they had a show up there where Kimberly Reese was kind of compared to Aunt Jemima, and it ruined her until she learned the history, and then she came back and finished the show on a good note. Having said that, Larry, I give the floor to you. What do you think, other than him looking like Aunt Jemima and being insecure as a white guy? What do you think about that?
I mean, the dude needs to go. I mean, when you say such blatantly racist crap like that, you need to go. You are not someone that should be serving in public office. You just need to go. And it's really a shame because there are people out there, and I know where Lou Ray is. It's not like it's in the city or something. Lou Ray is most famous for the Lou Ray Caverns, and he probably should take himself, walk into one of those caverns, and just stay there. Go in there and just stay in the dark, and go just stay and stand next to a stalactite and just exist there and don't come back out. I mean, it's terrible. People like that should not hold public office. They betray the public trust when they say things like that, because they have constituents, people out there that he represents that cannot possibly feel comfortable or safe with him representing their interest. And so he needs to go. I understand that people are going to have disagreements on policy and how's the best way to get to, a better city, a better county, a better state, better country. But when you start just being a flat out racist, there's no room for you in public office. There just should not be any room for you. We should have been able to move past that in this country, where you cannot hold office if you're a racist. I just wish the public was in a place where they said, no, we're not going to tolerate this. You have to go.
Well, there are some places where they don't tolerate it, but there's just way too many places where they do. But on top of racism, implicit bias shouldn't be tolerated either, Larry. And we're finding that so many of these hypocritical Republicans have implicit bias on top of the damn racism. And I'll give you a prime example of our president saying he basically doesn't want to get a deal done with Nancy Pelosi because he wants to cut off Democratic ran states and cities. I mean, American people, give me a clue. I mean, give me a clue. Can you imagine if any other president, forget Barack Obama, but any other president would have just flat out his mouth came out and said, I'm not trying to support a group of Americans in America because their city is run by the opposition party. I mean, what the fuck kind of shit is that? That is dictator if I've never heard it said before in my life. And then I'm gonna toss this alley-oop to Larry. The last thing I want to cover is him not trying to fund the post office. And you guys forgive my area of Greensboro for sending that piece of crap to be the postmaster general who's throwing gears in the sand, trying to rig this thing so that Trump can suppress the vote. I'm gonna let you start it, Larry, and I'm gonna end it. Then we're gonna move on.
Yeah, I mean, it's so blatant. It's just, I mean, it's not even a matter of stuff being blatantly obvious anymore. They're admitting it. They're saying, yeah, this is what our intention is. We want to gum up the works and make it so that people cannot vote, by mail. We want to gum things up so that you have to go in and vote. And here's the thing. When you have a normal election cycle, presidential or otherwise, and people are busy, they're at work, they don't have time. A lot of people say I can't take off because I work an hour away from home. I have to get up and I have to be at work at 8 o'clock. So I don't have time to go to the polls. The polls open at 7. I have to be on a bus or a train at 7 so I can get to work at 8. And then I work for 10 hours or something. I have to take another bus, a train to get home another hour. So by the time I get home and get to where the polling place is, it's closed up. I don't have time to vote. That's what a lot of people say. A lot of people experience that. Well, guess what? When you have 40 million people out of work, what do you think they're going to do on election day?
Most likely
they have nothing else to do.
Right.
They have nothing else to do. They're going to go vote.
Not to mention they're going to try to keep those protesters that have been in the streets for months. We're going to try to keep them engaged. The DNC is going to start trying to get them all registered. But here's another thing you all can do with your mail-in ballots. For one, they're doing this because of the corona issue that this current president and administration didn't fix. They are so bumbling in their response that he got mad at Deborah Birx, called her out her name, and now he's trying to put some other cat in her place that's a damn radiological doctor. He's not even an infectious disease doctor. He believes in this herd immunity shit. Lord, it get me tongue twisted because this stuff is on Front Street. Everybody's seeing it, and it's just hard to believe. But
here's the thing with herd immunity too. Since Lamont brought that up, let me just mention right quick what Anthony Fauci has already told us, and what is just common knowledge, is that in order for herd immunity to work, you need 75 to 80% of the public to have gotten the virus and survived it.
Not to mention you have to go through millions dying before you get to that point.
Yes, and that's part of the process. That within getting to 75 to 80% of the general society getting it, you're going to have millions of people dying. Millions. I mean, by the end of this year, we will already have reached 200,000 people dead. And for all those people out there saying, "Oh, this is nothing but the flu," the flu doesn't kill 200,000 people a year in this country. It just doesn't. And I mean, that idea has been dead for a long time ago. The flu may tap 30, 40,000 a year, but it's not taking out 200. And if we're trying to do the herd immunity thing, you're talking about killing off, millions of people.
Right. Nor does the flu have long-term heart effects in people who carry the virus but don't show signs of it. Yeah. Come on, man. Like
people
we
are, and those are the ones. Those are and when they talk about heart, lungs, kid, those are people that like had mild symptoms. Those are even some people who are asymptomatic. The other people who are hospitalized, those are people that have scar tissue in their lungs. Some people then all of a sudden who've been healthy before, now they have asthma. They have, they're prone and susceptible to getting pneumonia again throughout their life. Some of them are on oxygen for the rest of their lives. I mean, these are, and I mean, for those of you who don't know, we think of our athletes as like the most, healthy, just vigorous people out there. There was a basketball player, I believe he was from the US. He plays ball in Turkey or something, had coronavirus, I think he said he was mostly asymptomatic. He tested positive, quarantined for his couple of weeks, then got tested, came back negative, went back to playing ball, was practicing, boom, died on the court.
Yep.
Had a heart attack, died.
Got sick and died. Boom.
The American Heart Association just came out and with a report today saying athletes are susceptible to having heart damage to the muscle of the heart. Where most people have problems with their heart is with the valves, whether it ruptures or it's something, they get a hole in it, something. But they're saying that the coronavirus, even for people who are just asymptomatic, athletes are having a problem where they're having trouble with their actual heart muscle. And so I just say this as from a purely financial perspective. If you are an elite athlete and you are out there making like dude from what's his name from Kansas City, signing that ridiculous contract, that quarterback out of, what did he sign a contract
Mahomes,
$500 million?
Patrick Mahomes signed for like $520 million.
Right.
But all of it ain't guaranteed. Let's just put that
not
out
all
there.
of it's guaranteed. So here's the thing. When you have all that money and it's not guaranteed, do you really want to take the risk of going somewhere and getting coronavirus? And then all of a sudden now your perfectly strong heart is maybe a ticking time bomb. Maybe you have decreased lung capacity. Maybe it only drops 10, 15%. Guess what? When people are racing like in the Tour de France and they're taking like Lance Armstrong, when he's taking all those drugs so that he can run, so he can race, you know what kind of gains they're getting from those drugs? 3%, 5%, 8%. They're not getting a lot of gains, but that's all that sometimes that it takes between being a really good professional athlete and the best. And if all of a sudden you take out 10% of someone's lung capacity because they got COVID and were mostly asymptomatic, I mean, that's literally that could be the difference between you having a job and you not having a job when you're an athlete.
Exactly.
I mean,
and I'm a bookmark this one, Larry, by saying this. I'm so sick of idiots talking about they don't want to wear a mask and it's civil liberties. And I was mentioning to Larry before the show, would it be civil liberties if I ran around with a baseball bat and hit them all in the kneecap because they're starting to trounce on my civil liberties for someone who's practicing getting rid of the virus? Because now I can't even go to the pediatrician with my newborn with my wife because they're making it only one person because we're seeing another spike.
Right. Is it
wrong? You with your damn civil liberties, you with your civil liberties just ruined something that's supposed to be special for me in this time of my life because you're trying to run around out here talking about you want to have your civil liberties and not wear a damn mask.
Right. Is it? Can I practice my civil liberties if you're not wearing a mask and you're coming towards me? Can I shoot you and say that I was standing my ground?
Right.
Can I practice my Second Amendment rights and my civil liberties and say, well, you know what? I have asthma. I'm in an elevated risk group. You're not wearing a mask. You know we're in the middle of a pandemic and you're coming straight towards me. So should I be able to shoot that person and say I was just standing my ground?
Right. So it's so silly. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to finish with this point. A lot of places are going to allow you to take that mail-in ballot if you, for whatever the reason, are starting to not trust the post office. I know I've got my doubts. You can take that mail-in ballot and they're going to set up a place outside your polling location where you can drop off that mail-in ballot. But you're going to have to do your homework early to see if your polling place is going to do that. You can call down to your local DNC or whoever you vote for office and see if the polling place is going to have the mail-in ballot drop off right there. All you got to do is ride up with your car, drop it in, and keep it moving, which will help keep you safe and help make sure your vote gets counted that day.
Right. And I just have to shout out some, like, Buzz said he lost 2 cousins from COVID already. Both were in New York. Steven Johnson says he's got 12 people at his job got the virus. I just want to tell everybody out there, it is truly tragic what is happening. So please, everybody, please protect yourselves. I stay at home a lot now. I'm at home a lot, and I'm somebody. I wasn't like I was always out in the streets, anyways. But I did like to go to the mall and people watch. I would go shopping in various stores. I would do most of the shopping in my house because I don't mind going to the grocery store. I don't leave much anymore. I just I pack my Netflix queue. I do a lot of work. Figure out a way to occupy your time. Stay at home. Wear a mask. I know a lot of people. Well, I'm going for a run. I don't want to wear a mask. I can't breathe. Put on a mask that you can breathe with. Then figure out something, because when you're running by and you're spewing all that stuff, when you're huffing and puffing, that stuff is shooting back. Other people are walking by.
Or if you're running and you see somebody coming, make sure you get 6 feet away from them. It's not hard. It's not hard to do these little measures, ladies and gentlemen, that can help get us back on track, help bend this curve and keep it bent. And furthermore, we want to get back to where things are normal. And the only defense we have right now is social distancing, washing your hands, and wearing a mask wherever you go. Simple as that.
Right.
And there has never, ever in the history of the world been a better time to stay your ass at home than now. And secondly, we're clearly seeing that these damn people running around talking about my civil liberties this and my civil liberties that, they would have never made it as slaves. They would book it. They would have never, ever made it as slaves, because you can't stay home in air-conditioned air with every single movie, TV show in the world you want to see. You can't make it doing that. Your ass would have died if they would have made you be enslaved. And so
here's the thing. This is the crazy thing, right? And then I know you're trying to wrap it up. Let me just say this, and then I'll keep myself to myself. So as long as we've been in this thing, we've been in this pandemic for like 6 months now,
Yep.
And so all the times that I've heard people say, if I only had time to go back to school, if I only had time to go get training for something, if I only had time for this, but I'm working, I'm doing this, I don't have time, guess what? Some of you have been sitting at home for months upon months upon months and haven't done anything but watch TV and complain. And you could be out there right now getting some sort of training. There are all kinds of certificate courses online where you can learn how to go become a network engineer, how you can learn how to do database stuff, how you can learn how to do web programming. You can do app development. There's all kinds of programs out there that you can learn. You can go get go through one of those accelerated MBA programs. And these are programs that people are offering for free. All you have to do is sign up and go through the process and go through the program. It just takes a little bit of time and energy and discipline. You can do it. And then for some people, maybe when this pandemic breaks, you have a whole new skill set. You can go get a better job than you had before. Maybe one with more job security, maybe better pay. For some of you, you may not even have to wait until the pandemic's over. You go get a job. You go figure out what can I do right now from home that's going to make me money. You could probably go get that training or have gotten that training already. And then you can start working from home. All you may need is a computer and internet access.
That's it.
So, go stay at home. Stay at home and look at all the resources available to you out there and make use of this time. Make good use of the time. Don't sit around eating everything in sight, watching all this stuff and arguing with your family. Just, make good use of this time. Make yourself a better you. And I'm done.
Well, Larry, we said this in March, because one thing that everybody who knows me well knows, I'm a great planner. We said, because you're stuck for 3 months, make a plan to better yourself. That's what we said back in March. Me, you, and T-Stream. Make a plan to better yourself. And what did we do? We made a plan and we bettered ourselves and some of our subscribers by building wealth through stocks. That's what we did, because some of y'all been listening. And if you're finding me and Larry for the first time, please subscribe to my channel and his. Links are in the video description. We are talking stocks. Me and Larry have been reading. We've been into this thing since the coronavirus started. We was invested before then, but all this time gave us more time to really learn how you can earn money, how you can bet on stocks, get paid, and do some options. And I'm here to tell you guys, we told you on Tuesday we had an emergency live stream because we told you guys to get up there, oops, wrong one, and buy Tesla because they split. That was the price that it ended on Tuesday. And if you took our advice, because we said it was going to have a run up all the way to the split, this is what it ended today. You basically made yourself about $300 per every single share. And ladies and gentlemen, it ain't gonna stop, because what they have done is start a trend that a whole lot of other tech companies claim they're gonna follow. And before we discuss that to help you guys make some more money in the stocks, take a look at the buzz surrounding what's been going on with Tesla and how Tesla and Apple has been able to make people consider, okay, there are retail investors who the psychology for them is if the stock is cheaper, I'll buy it, versus the stock being $200 plus. Take a look at this.
Great idea, actually, that they did it for both Apple and Tesla. And we applaud the listing exchanges for working so hard to get this done. And I think why it's important, I think professionals sometimes forget that capital management is a big part for retail traders. And so they would like to participate a little bit more, but to go out and buy, 100 shares of Apple right now is probably cost prohibitive for most people. And so if you go down and you cut that price by 4, a few things about it. In a world where we have a 60 basis point 10-year note, you can actually enhance your returns. If you want to sell a put in order to buy the stock, if you want to sell a covered call against your stock, you can start to use that. But besides that, Joe, again, people want to participate more. If I go back to 2014, last time Apple split, that week we saw 7 times more orders, more accounts place orders for Apple that week. People are interested in being involved to a higher level in companies that they know and like. They want more than 1 share or 2 shares. And the capital management part of this is so often overlooked as to how much money people have in their accounts.
Okay, that makes some sense, I guess. So to do if you want to sell a put to acquire a stock or do some covered calls, you need more. But it's not that hard to buy fractional or to buy 10 shares of a stock at this point. So that makes sense. Then everyone should do it. JJ, you got 30 seconds to talk, or you'll never be on again if you go beyond that.
Okay, Joe, I will not go beyond that, but I will say that, again, with these high-priced stocks, people want more than 1 share or 2 shares. They want to be involved. Plus, in terms of market structure, those are protected orders. Okay. It's also a big deal. Even though retail gets great service overall, I think that it's overlooked how much people would like to participate, and this gives them an opportunity to, and I'm under 30 seconds.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, he just told you the power of what a split does. And I think that it is outstanding that some of the other tech companies, Facebook is discussing it. Amazon said they're not doing it. Amazon wants to be like Berkshire Hathaway, and they're not doing it. They don't really see a need in doing it. But I also saw Microsoft discussing that they might do a stock split. And ladies and gentlemen, even though your goal is still going to be 1 stock, or basically 1 hamburger with a price of $10 versus the same hamburger with $10 with $1 for 10 people's value. What these old school heads aren't understanding is that the fundamentals don't change, but the psychology does. And people want whole shares. People want to see a psychological price that is $100 versus $500 versus $400. People want to say, hey, I can go buy 5 shares and watch it grow versus I got to do fractional shares, or I just got to save up my whole damn 3 weeks worth of work money to go and buy 1 damn share of Tesla. And so that's why you're seeing these splits become popular. And the other point that a lot of companies are doing, whether we want to admit it or not, tech has really, really overcorrected. It has really overcorrected. And sooner or later, there's going to be a fluctuation where things are going to taper down. And they want this market to hit all-time highs. The best way to do that is to bring in new investors by splitting these stocks up, giving more people opportunities to buy them. And as the guy said in the video, people want to do calls and puts. Well, if you can't afford one contract, which is 100 shares, you're going to have a hard time doing calls and puts. And what I know that these old heads are doing is when stock prices go down, the premium for their options go down too. And they don't like that. They won't tell you that to your face, but they don't like that. That's what it is. That's what it is. So instead of them getting a sweet $3,000 a week premium, you split the stock, the premium goes down to maybe, $1,000 a week or whatever. And they don't want to tell you that, other than they just want to try to keep telling you it shouldn't make a difference. It's going to be the same value, blah, blah, blah. But there's psychology that goes into it. People want whole shares, and other people want to take advantage of the option premiums too. Larry, I give the floor to you.
Yeah, and on the other end, where he was talking about as far as, retail investors being able to afford to get in, I can't, like, if I wanted to go buy some Tesla stock and I wanted to buy a whole block, I can't afford $160,000 to go buy, 100 shares of Tesla. I mean, and that's what it would take, because it's $1,600 a share. That's just, I don't know too many people who are just retail investors that can afford to go do that. I mean, even at Apple, Apple's today was what, 457. So now you're talking about, what, $4,500 or $45,000 or something like that, just to buy 100 shares. I mean, crazy. that is nuts, Right. And so you do a 4-to-1 split, and now all of a sudden that block of 100 is $4,000 instead of 40. I mean, 5-to-1 on Tesla, it's still expensive. I mean, it's going to be run up. I mean, if it gets run up to $1,000 and they do a 5-to-1, it's still going to come out to around $200 a share or something like that.
It's looking, Larry, it's looking like they might run it up to 2,000. I mean, for real, it's looking like they're going to, because everybody knows that when the thing gets cheaper, nobody wants to miss that second ride. Nobody.
Well, we're going to see, because the stock price is going to go flat. I don't mean flat. I just mean, it's probably going to go relatively flat, I think, after the 21st, because
it's going to go flat next Monday. Next Monday is when it's going to go flat.
Well, I'm thinking Friday because October 21st, August 21st is the cutoff. If you own that stock on August 21st, you're going to be part of that split. If you buy it in October after that, you may still pay the full price for it, but you're not going to get that split. You need to buy it by August 21st to get that split, and then it's going to start trading at the adjusted price on August 31st, 10 days later. So I think between the 21st and the 31st is going to be pretty flat. But I think in between then, over the next week, people there's only 5 days for next week. They're going to run it up. They're going to run it up in between now and then. So
right. And Steve, I'm reading some of the people's comments. For my folk, why not, and some of the others, next week I'm going to finally get a full tutorial video walkthrough. I'm going to do it with my wife first, then I'm going to do another one with Larry, where I'm going to show you how easy it is to do an option selling puts. Do an option, and the strategy is called the wheel strategy, where you do a contract, they pay you premium up front. And if your price doesn't go below a certain point by the end of the week, you get to keep the premium and they give you your cash collateral back. If not, you get the price at a discount, you get the stocks at a discount, and then you pay it, you do another premium with those shares, and then you just sell them for the difference of what you got them at a discount. It's called the wheel strategy. And I'm going to do a full tutorial how to pick the stock, how it works, how insurance companies and banks been doing this for years and didn't want you to really know about it. And this is why a lot of the old school investors are complaining about stock prices dropping, because typically the more expensive the stock, the more premium is going to be involved, because you have institutional people investing in those stocks, trying to find discounts and deals. So for them, you just basically, when you knock that price down to like $200, you're going from, Tesla might be $1,600, it goes down to $300. Right now, option on Tesla in a week, they could make literally $6,000. But if you knock it down to $300, that $6,000 goes down to about $1,500. So that's another reason why the old school heads are getting mad. But ladies and gentlemen, there's a bunch of high dollar option stocks you can use. And I suggest in the beginning, you don't try to do one like I'm going to show you guys we're going to do that's pretty expensive because it pays a lot of premium. You start with something small like me and Larry did when I was showing him how to do it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, there's never in history been a better time to take advantage of what's going on while you're home, learn all these strategies, make yourself some money.
Timothy Wilson saying, how can I sell a stock or two to put more into Tesla? You just
it depends on what
you own. You just need to contact. It depends on what you use for your, as your brokerage. If you do, like an online brokerage thing, like TD or Robinhood or Webull or E-Trade or something like that, you just log on to your app and you just sell whatever it is you want to sell. And once it's, once the contract is done, usually it happens within a matter of seconds. You just submit it, and once it's done, it's sold, and then the money's in your account, and then you can start you can go and buy your Tesla stock. It's really pretty simple. The only time it's not as simple is if you're with a brokerage account where you have to do like broker assisted trades. Then you just need to call your broker, tell them what you want to trade.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, if you have a broker assisted account, unless you were balling where you have millions of dollars in your account, you probably just need to go with a regular online account, because otherwise you're paying money to a broker every time you make a trade.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the plan of what we're going to do, and we're going to be going forward this weekend, trying to get in all these reviews. For anytime you guys have stock-related questions or stock news, just hit me on the gram. Send me a message. I'm Tangible. Larry's on the gram too. We will be back Monday with Pay or Wait. We'll be reviewing 3 shows on that day. Larry, are you looking at anything else? And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget Larry goes live on Saturday nights too.
That's right. Yeah, you can hit me up tomorrow night at 9. I will be on with Pajama. We talk about movies and TV shows. And so tomorrow we are talking about, what are we talking about tomorrow? I have to pull up in my list here. I think tomorrow we're going to talk about Killing Hasselhoff is one of them. We're going to talk about The American Pickle, which is a show that's on, it's a movie that's on HBO Max with Seth Rogen. And then we are going to talk about, let's see, what else do we have here for tomorrow? Unwell. It's like a 6-part sort of documentary series on HBO. It's really interesting. They talk about stuff like ayahuasca. There's an episode about people doing breast milk for a lot of they're talking like bodybuilders who use breast milk as a supplement. So that's one of them. There's another one that deals with like bee sting therapy, all these different sorts of documentaries that they've done. So it's like a 6-part series. We're going to do let's see, what else are we going to talk about tomorrow? I think there was 1 or 2 other ones on there, but I can't remember what they are off the top of my head. I've already watched them, so but yeah, so anyways, check us out. We'll be on tomorrow at 9 o'clock. It should be fun. We always sit up there and laugh and joke and talk craziness, and she and I disagree about everything. So if you want to see that, come check us out.
Cool. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to be safe this weekend. Wear your mask. Stay away from haters. Enjoy some family time. Watch some good TV. Be sure to watch The Shy this weekend, P-Valley, and also HBO 9 p.m. Lovecraft Country. It goes down. And that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe. Get yourself that life gain. And until that next Sex is Hell video, we'll see you.